Tonight on To The Point, ban a book, face a fine.
They are attempting to take away our ability to safeguard our children.
How a new state law will work in schools effective immediately. Governor Newsom signing a new gun and ammo tax into law. The one group already fighting back. And the government shutdown deadline and what it could mean for future firefighter pay. Good evening. This is To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Effective immediately. With the stroke of Governor Gavin Newsom's pen, California schools could be fined if they ban books for discriminatory reasons. Tonight, as our Jeannie Nguyen explains, schools are scrambling and parents are concerned about the future of their children's education.
And with the simple signature, we can make that happen.
It's official. Assembly Bill 1078 is now a law, making it illegal for California schools to ban books in an effort to strengthen protections and support for LGBTQ plus students.
It is a responsibility of every generation to making sure that the rights go on for the next generation to be able to enjoy.
Because of its urgency clause, the law goes into effect immediately, and that has moms like Allie Snyder concerned for the future of her son's education.
My son, when he was 12 last year, saw the book, This Book is Gay, in his junior high library. And that book has nothing to do with being gay and everything to do with grooming children to make them more accessible to adults and predators.
Snyder says she's upset she doesn't have the ability to control what her children are being taught while in school. It's gotten so concerning for her, she's taken drastic steps in her son's education.
I'm also pulling my child out of this district.
But for some students, they believe there's more behind this objection.
It has to do with parental figures afraid of LGBTQ plus and people of color narratives being exposed to their children.
Regardless of the differing opinions, the California School Boards Association says this is where a majority of the state is headed.
We do agree with the overall motivation or the impetus for this bill, which is to create inclusive materials.
CSBA represents a majority of the school districts in the state, and while they agree with the cultural movement of this bill, they say they're unhappy about a certain aspect.
The state has the ability to come in immediately and without any discretion for the locals or any opportunity for the local school district to correct. The state can come in and make those changes on its own.
If a school is in violation, it could mean a hefty monetary penalty.
In the past, when this has been threatened, we've been talking in the millions of dollars.
And Jeannie joins us now. Now, we know that this law is in effect now, but what about those schools that were previously banning books?
Alex, a spokesperson for CSBA tells me that the state will be alerted that the school is not compliant. Now, that would trigger an investigation, and the school district would be subject to a violation or penalty based on the findings of that investigation.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And you already know we will be following this. All right, Governor Newsom just signed several other bills to boost the state's protections for LGBTQ youth in schools, and one law will require public school teachers and staff to undergo cultural competency training. Another creates an advisory task force. A third will require schools to have at least one gender-neutral bathroom by 2026. And Governor Newsom also signed a law today to tax guns and ammunition, saying the extra money will go towards school security and violence prevention programs.
It's the carnage it's too much, and I just can't normalize it. We can't accept it, and so this is a small price to pay.
And this will be an 11% tax on gun manufacturers and retailers on top of the 10 to 11% federal tax. One state Republican we've spoken to about this says that this is an attack to those that are following the rules.
I don't know why we keep attacking those who have proven to not be a threat. It just makes it more difficult for them to acquire self-protection, right? I mean, and that's protected by the Second Amendment.
The new tax takes effect next July. The California Rifle and Pistol Association plans to challenge the new tax in court. In other news, a 15-year-old is dead after a shooting in downtown Stockton. So this happened just yesterday afternoon. A 16-year-old was also hurt, and community organizations are trying to help stop the crime, but there are major concerns about the youth in Stockton.
It almost feels like you feel frustrated because you don't feel like you can move fast enough, like we can provide resources fast enough in order to alleviate the pressure, the pain, and the trauma within our community.
Tony McNeil wants neighbors to know that they are a part of the solution. Her message is, if the youth aren't okay, then the community isn't okay. And a woman is dead after a fire at a Citrus Heights apartment complex. Sacramento Metro Fire says the woman was found inside the apartment that caught fire just before 4 this morning. She was taken to the hospital where she died, and neighbors say they heard a loud boom.
I looked out the window and I saw that apartment it was starting to go up in flames. I ran over there, and by the time I got there, it was totally fully engulfed.
The fire is being considered an accident, and all 6 apartment units were damaged. Tonight, a different man is in jail, accused of sexually assaulting and killing a 6-year-old boy, and this happened more than 30 years ago. As our Alicia Machado shares, all those years ago, another man was blamed.
69-year-old Fred Kane faces murder charges in connection to a 1987 cold case, the death of Jeremy Stoner. The 6-year-old boy was abducted near his Vallejo home, sexually assaulted and found dead on Sherman Island in Sacramento County, just days after he went missing in February of 1987.
We've spoken with the Stoners. They're very appreciative. Obviously, it's a big shock.
All those years ago, another man was charged and tried for the crime, Sean Melton. The case was later dismissed after 2 juries could not reach a verdict. After decades went by with no one convicted, the Solano County DA's office took another look at the case in October 2022, sending evidence from the case to a forensic lab. DA Krishna Abrams says DNA played a crucial role in leading to the suspect that their office believes is responsible for Stoner's murder, and ultimately exonerating Melton, who died back in 2000.
Unfortunately, we didn't have the type of DNA testing that we have now back then.
The DA's office also revealing Kane was interviewed by Vallejo police about the murder back in 1987 and previously convicted of sodomy and rape in Contra Costa County in the 70s. The DA's office also says Kane knew Stoner but couldn't go into detail. ABC 10 spoke with Kane's niece, Chris Delaney, who says he is from California and lived with her grandparents in Pacheco around the time.
From what I can remember, he was a very angry man. He was very abusive. If he could physically abuse other family members and sexually abuse me, he could absolutely do anything to anybody.
Delaney said this arrest will help bring her closure, something she hopes for Stoner's family as well.
I feel horrible for this young man's family that they lost their child like this. And then the Sean had to live his life and was treated so horribly. We're getting justice for everybody.
Next, on To the Point, future firefighter pay. What's at stake with a possible government shutdown?
We're tracking some beautiful fall conditions. As you can see, highs for today in the 80s, but a cooler and wetter forecast for the weekend.
And the local family growing and preparing cactus that you can eat.
You can just bite right into it.
All right, let's check on our weather with Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. It's actually been pretty nice outside. It was pretty cool today, too.
I know, in the morning especially, right? You grab that jacket, and then during the afternoon, you're like, why did I bring that to work? I don't need that, right? Temperatures, as you can see across the board, below average. Downtown Sacramento topping out at 83, average high 87. Sacramento Executive 82, average high 86. Stockton 84, average high 88. And for Modesto 81, our average high 87 degrees, so about 5 degrees below average. Our current temperature is still in the 70s to near 80 for the valley, 60s and 70s for the foothills, and close to 60 up top for the Sierra. Another chilly night ahead. Lows will fall to the mid-50s. Our sunset is at 6:57. Our sunrise tomorrow, right about that same time, right about 6:53 or so. Temperatures overall falling well below average here the past couple of days, and we're really not going to see a big warm up. Likely cooler in the forecast. That wetter forecast, though, heads a little bit off to the east. That's not to say we won't get a couple of systems in here. The first one of the fall season now off to the east. Here comes the next one, and that one makes a dive right towards the eastern side of the state. Best chance of weekend showers will be the foothills and the Sierra. We'll be tracking that very closely anytime it hits on a weekend, right? Highs in the 60s tomorrow for the Sierra, 70s and 80s for the foothills. Along the coast, we've got highs in the 70s, but inland areas, we're back into the 80s after a chilly start to the morning, right around 50 to 55 degrees. Now, our 5-day forecast, you see how cool temperatures get in the mountains. Highs only in the 40s with that chance of showers all the way through the foothills. For the valley, we'll still track it Friday night into Saturday.
Next, on To The Point, a possible government shutdown. What's at stake locally? And developing news about the end to one of Hollywood's strikes. Welcome back. A government shutdown deadline is quickly approaching. Congress must pass a dozen spending bills by Sunday to keep the federal government running. The big hangup is in the House. Some Republicans are calling for larger spending cuts. If nothing happens, 4 million federal workers could go without pay. As our Devin Trubia explains, that could be devastating for military members and Travis Air Force Base.
Unless Congress takes action soon, the U.S. is headed towards a government shutdown. If a deal isn't reached by Sunday, millions of federal workers could be forced to work without a paycheck, including members of the military.
Our leadership isn't leading, and that's when it becomes problematic for everyone.
Matthew says it's happened during his career, and he's learned not to be solely dependent on the government for income, but worries for those who are.
It's not right what's happening. They should balance their budget and live their budget.
The city of Fairfield is also concerned for their military residents. Travis Air Force Base is the largest employer in Solano County. City leaders say they're also worried about the federal funding for housing grants, capital projects, and homelessness. Congressman John Garamendi represents Solano County, and as a member of the Armed Services Committee, he says the shutdown is a legitimate threat and concern for the entire community.
The civilian employees, 2,000 of them at Travis Air Force Base, some of those employees would be forced to work even though they wouldn't be paid until the shutdown's over. Others would simply be laid off. They'd be furloughed and they wouldn't be paid, period. So for those families, it is a devastating loss of income.
Saying that will give them time for both sides of the aisle to come together rather than have a devastating outcome for the nation's military.
And the possible is a continuing resolution to fund the government at its present level for the next period of time, maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe a month.
And there is a lot at stake. Things like national parks could also close. And another issue that we've covered on To The Point is federal firefighter pay. The federal government could miss the deadline to extend salary increases for U.S. Forest Service firefighters. They were given temporary pay increases in 2021 that are set to expire on September 30th. The temporary increases have been boosted by $20,000 or 50%, whichever's less. There is concern that without the extended increases, federal firefighters will quit in droves in search for better pay with other agencies. And new tonight, the writers' strike in Hollywood is ending after 148 days. The WGA says the strike is over effective tomorrow. Writers will be allowed to go back to work while the larger union ratifies the deal. Meanwhile, the Actors Guild is still working with a deal with the studios. President Biden visited auto workers today on strike in Detroit. It's believed to be the first time a sitting president joined a picket line, and Biden is now in the Bay Area campaigning for re-election. And California's superintendent of schools, Tony Thurmond, announced today that he's running for governor. The election to replace Governor Newsom is in 2026. He is the second candidate to emerge. California Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis announced her campaign for governor back in April. And you already know it's Hispanic Heritage Month. To The Point is celebrating and sharing stories about our local Hispanic communities. And tonight, our John Bartel takes us to Oakdale, where a family is growing an age-old Mexican plant with hopes of promoting a healthy and cultural benefit.
As the lunch crowd rolls into La Paella Mexican restaurant in Modesto, a familiar smell is making its way out of Chef Margarita's kitchen. Nopales, also known as cactus, is the main ingredient in the two dishes she's cooking up as part of an old family recipe that was passed down from generation to generation.
Desde mi abuela, mi madre.
Nopales is a staple in most Hispanic households. It's flavorful, relatively inexpensive, and healthy for you. The only problem, it's hard to find in most U.S. grocery stores. But a farming family in Oakdale is working to change that.
We're striving to educate people about nopales and so that they're able to try it and just give it a chance.
This is Products from Paradise, a cactus farm trying to make fresh Nepalis more accessible.
Yeah, right now there's not that many places that have it, and if they do have it, it's beaten up. It's almost rotten.
The Ruiz family farms one of the largest edible cactus farms in California, an agriculture venture that took a long time to grow.
Because it's not easy. I'm in here for 8 years, and sometimes it's hard.
Everything you see on this 8-acre plot of land is planted, picked, marketed, and sold by Salvador Ruiz, his wife, and his 3 children. But the family's farming roots go way back.
All my family in agriculture. So I go to the school in Mexico, but all the time I have the idea.
An idea to build a pesticide-free organic farm, but unfortunately, Salvador had some difficulty profiting off traditional California crops in the beginning, but eventually he found success in growing Nepalis.
You can just bite right into it. Oh,
good.
It's like it's a little sour, but it's also
Nopales is harvested from the prickly pear cactus, which is considered both a fruit and a vegetable, so it has some complex flavors. The paddle-shaped branches, or the nopal, is considered a vegetable, and the red-colored pear, or the tuna, is the fruit. Nopales can be eaten raw, but like most vegetables, they taste better cooked.
So nopales, actually, culturally, it's very important to Mexicans. I don't know if you noticed, but it's in the Mexican flag. It's also under the feet of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
The nopales has been cultivated for food for over 9,000 years. The Aztecs used nopal for food and medicine. And sailors also used nopal to prevent scurvy, which helps spread the spineless prickly pear around the world. Nopales is also considered the life-giving plant because it never seems to die. You see, if the plant falls on the ground or if it's ripped off, it can form a new one.
Nopal is considered a resilient plant, so that's why it represents the resilience of the Mexican people, and that's why it was also chosen to be a part of the Mexican flag.
The prickly pear grows in many hot, arid parts of the United States. It's a drought-tolerant plant, but few farmers north of the border know how to grow or process Nepalis on a large scale. Before you can eat Nepalis, all those thorns must be removed by hand.
The person that they do every day this one, they can clean one box of that one in 40 minutes. Yeah.
It's gonna take me a little while to get there. I'm not that fast, yeah.
Marketing and scaling up the operation is a challenge for the Ruiz family, but they're overcoming it. They've received grants to expand the refrigeration in their fruit stand, and they're working with local food banks and restaurants to get Nopales-based meals on more dinner plates.
We always get compliments because people are always like, wow, it's so hard to have a family business. How do you guys do it? And really it's that. It's love and communication. We have that.
Nopales is a versatile plant. It can be used in flavored drinks, beauty products, and even the pesky beetles that eat the cactus can be used to make clothing dye. And it's this versatility that gives the Ruiz family hope for expansion in the future.
Once we're able to have more production, we'd be able to supply more restaurants and hopefully more people. And that's really the goal of our business, is to supply as many people as possible with this healthy alternative and this vegan option.
From the Nopales fields in Oakdale, I'm John Bartel.
All right, next on To The Point. Kids told they have 1 weekend to change elementary schools. All right, coming up tomorrow right here on To The Point. Some parents with the Sacramento City schools say the district is disrupting their kids' education. It's a process called contract capping, or con capping. The district makes an elementary student switch several schools the students have to switch schools into the school year because they have too many kids in the classroom. So we spoke with a parent at Tahoe Elementary who learned last Thursday that the very next day would be her daughter's last day before being con capped to another school.
This is so disruptive for Angelina. She was up till 2 a.m. crying in my bed, telling me how sad she was to lose her friends, how sad she was to lose her teacher.
We don't want to do this. We just have to do this. It is the way that we can serve the greatest number of students with the resources that we have district-wide.
So coming up tomorrow, To the Point, why parents say this process hurt some of the most vulnerable students, what the district is doing in response, and how the teacher shortage also plays a role in all of this. All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If there is something that you think we should be looking into, make sure you reach out to me and the team. We always love to hear from you. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.